If you open any SEO tool, you are immediately hit with dozens of numbers: domain authority, page authority, keyword difficulty, organic traffic estimates, trust flow, citation flow, spam score, referring domains, total backlinks, organic keywords, traffic value, and on and on. It is easy to spend hours analyzing metrics and still have no idea whether your SEO efforts are working. The problem is not that these numbers are useless. The problem is that most of them are third-party estimates, not official Google data, and many of them measure the wrong thing for the stage you are at. In this video, you will learn which metrics are sourced from Google and worth tracking closely, which third-party metrics deserve a glance but not your obsession, and which numbers you can safely ignore when you are building search traffic on a small or mid-sized site. The goal is a lean dashboard that tells you whether your SEO work is producing real results. The most reliable SEO data comes from Google Search Console, because it is actual data from Google about how your site appears in search. 3 Search Console metrics deserve regular attention. The first is impressions, the number of times your pages appeared in search results for any query. Impressions tell you how visible your site is across Google. If impressions are growing month over month, your topical footprint is expanding, meaning Google is showing your pages for more queries. If impressions are flat or declining, your content is not gaining new ground. The second metric is clicks, the number of times someone actually clicked through to your site from search results. Clicks are the direct measure of search traffic. Compare clicks to impressions to get your click-through rate, which is the third metric worth watching. Click-through rate tells you how compelling your search listings are. If a page has 10,000 impressions but only 50 clicks, something is off. The title tag might not match the query well, the meta description might be vague, or you might be ranking on page 2 where click-through rates are naturally very low. Average position in Search Console shows where your pages typically appear in search results for their queries. This metric is useful as a directional indicator but should not be tracked obsessively for individual keywords. A more useful approach is to look at average position trends across groups of related queries, which tells you whether your topical clusters are improving over time. If your average position for email marketing related queries drops from 22 to 14 over 3 months, your email marketing cluster is gaining traction. Beyond Search Console, your website analytics platform, whether that is Google Analytics, Plausible, Fathom, or something else, gives you behavioral metrics that matter. The 2 most important are engagement time on page and conversion actions. Engagement time tells you whether visitors are actually reading your content or bouncing immediately. If organic visitors to your guide spend 4 minutes on the page, that is a healthy signal. If they leave in 8 seconds, the content may not match the intent of the query that brought them. Conversion actions, whether those are email signups, contact form submissions, product purchases, or whatever matters to your business, tell you whether search traffic is producing business outcomes, not just page views. Now let's talk about third-party metrics that deserve context, not trust. Domain authority, domain rating, and similar scores from tools like Moz, Ahrefs, and SEMrush are not Google metrics. They are proprietary estimates calculated by each tool company based on their own models, primarily using backlink data. A site with a domain authority of 40 is not inherently stronger than a site with a domain authority of 35. These scores can vary significantly between tools and do not directly correspond to Google's internal assessment of your site. That said, domain-level authority metrics can be useful as a rough comparison tool. If you are evaluating whether to target a keyword and the top 5 results are all from sites with domain ratings above 80, while your site is at 15, the competitive gap is large. But the exact numbers are not meaningful in isolation. Use them as a ballpark signal for competitive intensity, not as a score to optimize. Keyword difficulty scores are similarly estimated. Each tool calculates keyword difficulty using its own formula, and the same keyword can have a difficulty score of 20 in one tool and 55 in another. Rather than trusting a difficulty number, do a manual SERP review. Search the keyword, look at the top results, and assess the quality and depth of those pages yourself. Are they from major publications with editorial teams, or are there weaker pages you could compete with? Your own SERP analysis is more accurate than any automated score. Traffic estimates from third-party tools are also approximations. When a tool says a competitor gets 50,000 organic visits per month, that number is modeled from sample data and keyword position estimates. The actual number could be 20,000 or 100,000. Use these estimates for directional comparisons, like identifying which competitor pages get the most traffic or which topics drive the most organic visits in your niche, but do not treat them as precise figures. The healthiest approach to SEO metrics is to build a simple dashboard with 2 layers. The first layer is your primary metrics, the ones you check weekly or bi-weekly and use to make decisions. These should all come from sources you control: Google Search Console for impressions, clicks, click-through rate, and average position, your analytics platform for engagement time, pages per session from organic traffic, and conversion actions from organic visitors. These metrics tell you whether your SEO work is producing search visibility, traffic, engagement, and business results. The second layer is your reference metrics, the ones you check monthly or quarterly for context. These include third-party authority scores for competitive benchmarking, traffic estimates for competitor analysis, and keyword rankings from a tracking tool for specific high-priority queries. These are supplementary. They give you perspective, but they should not drive your content decisions. Here is a practical SEO metrics checklist. Weekly, review Search Console clicks and impressions trends, and check for any sudden drops that might indicate technical issues. Bi-weekly, compare click-through rates for your top 20 queries and identify pages where the listing might need a better title tag or meta description. Monthly, check organic traffic conversion rates in your analytics to see whether search visitors are taking the actions that matter to your business. Review your content cluster performance by grouping Search Console queries by topic and checking whether average positions are improving. Quarterly, run a third-party tool scan for competitive benchmarking and backlink profile review. Update your keyword tracking list to add new priority queries and remove ones that are no longer relevant. The biggest mistake beginners make with SEO metrics is tracking too many numbers and acting on none of them. A focused dashboard with 5 to 7 metrics you actually review and respond to will outperform a spreadsheet with 50 columns of data you open once and forget. Measure what matters, ignore the vanity numbers, and let your data guide your next piece of content. SEO Signal Room explains how search engines, keywords, content clusters, backlinks, and search intent actually work. The channel turns confusing SEO advice into practical frameworks for bloggers, founders, marketers, and creators who want search traffic that can compound over time. This video is general SEO education, not a guarantee of rankings, traffic, or revenue. Search results vary by query, site quality, competition, location, intent, timing, and algorithm changes.